What's up, Shadow Nerds? Today, as we're recording this, it is Veterans Day. Um, so, yeah. With that being said, real quick, please subscribe to the channel. Please like the videos. Watch any of my past videos. They're all there for you to see. Anyways, back to the news of the day. Today is Veterans Day, and in honor of Veterans Day, I want to say thank you to everyone that served ever and now serving our country. We really appreciate it. Today we're also honoring another soldier, Stan Lee. Stan Lee served in World War II. A lot of people don't know that. He enlisted right after Pearl Harbor and stayed in it until it was over in '45. So, but that's not what people remember most about Stan Lee. Stan Lee would go on to become, it's not even arguable if I said, to become probably the god of comics. No disrespect to Jack Kirby whatsoever. I mean, them two together, man, unbelievable. A lot of you guys know me as the DC guy. You know, I have a lot of DC stuff, and you know that's what I gear towards on everything. But you know, I've had this talk before in my Marvel versus DC rant. Check out that video if you haven't. At the end of the day, we're all comic lovers in general, regardless of who and what company and indie and whatever comic thing you're into. It's hard to talk about comic books at all without Stan Lee. And in 1,000 years, if I doubt comic books will exist anymore, but when they do, they're going to talk about probably three things: the invention of the first superhero, aka Superman. Batman shortly after that, and then Stan Lee. I would imagine he's going to be right there on that timeline of how important he is to everything. So Stan Lee would go on to create many of the superheroes that we know and love today. Fantastic Four was his first creation. They were huge. And then Spider-Man. And we all know how much we love Spider-Man. I love Spider-Man. I like the Fantastic Four. I love the X-Men. I love Thor. I like Hulk. You know, we all do. And a lot of us don't know that Stan Lee created them. It's sad, but a lot of people don't know. A lot of people, what they do know is that he is the guy in the movies, the Marvel movies, the cameo guy. I found out today at work actually, and I overheard it. I was doing my work, and I heard Stan Lee died today, and I'm like, I immediately was like, what? And I got up and walked over, and like, Stan Lee died today, and one of the ladies was like, who's that? And then some other girl walked by, and she's like, oh, that's the guy in the Marvel movies. He's in every single one. And I'm like, yeah, that's the guy that created like Fantastic Four, Spider-Man, X-Men, Wolverine, Hulk, you know, everybody. And they're all like, oh, really? You know, so like, I get it. But I was shocked. Well, let me rephrase that. I wasn't shocked. I was shocked at that particular moment. But in general, no, I'm not shocked. Stan Lee died at the age of 95 today in the morning. His cause of death is unknown at this point. But he's had some health issues for a while. He also, his wife died last year in 2017, so that kind of usually happens when couples have been together for a long, long, long time. When one of them passes, the other one is usually soon to follow. But he did have health complications on top of that, so yeah, man, there's so much to say about Stan Lee that it's hard for me to even put together one train of thoughts and just go along a path. So I guess I'm just gonna spit how I feel with everything. So I was gonna originally list and name every character Stan Lee has either created or co-created, and I wouldn't have time in a 10-minute video or however this long. I mean, hundreds. It's people think those 5 or 6 that I mentioned, but I mean hundreds, from the A-list characters to the insignificant D-list characters. This man has created, without stretching, it's not a stretch to say damn, probably 70% of all Marvel characters. I mean, this dude had a hand in so many, it's ridiculous. You can go online and check out that list. I know Wikipedia has it, many other places have it, but this dude created so much, so many characters. It's just unbelievable. Like I said, him and Jack Kirby, I don't put anyone else above them. No offense to Bob Kane, no offense to Bill Finger, no offense to Joe and Jerry for Superman. You know, no offense to anybody, but Stan Lee, man. Unbelievable. Very sad to hear. It sucks because he had a few legal issues going on the last year of his life, dealing with some of his family members. But I know it's all love at the end of the day. He had some issues with Marvel in the 90s and early 2000s, you know, so it's not like Stan Lee had a contract with Marvel the past many, many years of his life. It was more of an appreciation thing that he was in the movies and stuff, because these were all characters that he created and loved. Stan Lee didn't do this as a job because he needed money or wanted fame or whatever. Stan Lee created everything because he loved it, and that is so hard to find these days in any industry, honestly. Not just the comic book one, but Stan Lee loved this, man. Loved this life of superheroes, creating these characters and telling these stories that we would hear forever. He loved it with, it's who he was, you know. His last Twitter post was saying thank you to veterans, and I think it's very fitting and telling what kind of man he was. A lot of the younger people don't know much about the comic books, but what they do is they see the movies, and they don't know who he is when he pops up on the screen at that particular moment, and they hopefully get told eventually, but a lot of them say, that's the cameo guy with the mustache in the back that always has the glasses. Yeah, that's who that is, and that's okay. You know, that if that's all they know him as, then he became famous as for that too. So, and that's awesome. I think he got a big kick out of it. I was extremely happy to see a lot of his visions put on screen with all the characters over the past 10, 15 years of Marvel. And I love that Marvel did a 10-year anniversary pick recently with all of the Marvel characters from the Marvel Cinematic Universe. And he was in it, and he got to be with everyone. And I think that really made, that's one of his happier days. I was happy to see that as a fan. To see your vision and dreams come true like that is a big deal. So I'm happy that he got to be a part of that. You know, again, I know I'm known as the DC guy a lot, but, you know, I grew up like everybody. I grew up in the 90s, so the Spider-Man cartoon and the X-Men cartoon in the 90s was a huge part of my childhood. I love that stuff. For like 3 years, all I wore for my underwear, my whitey-tighty underwear, was X-Men and Spider-Man. You know what I mean? Like, they were it. And I love Spider-Man. I still love Spider-Man. I've seen every freaking movie for pretty much any Marvel movie I've seen. You know, I love these characters. I really do. I don't talk about them much, or I don't do a lot on them, but I respect who they are, what they do, and I respect Stan Lee for everything he has done. As far as the market goes, it's like anyone else. When a great person passes away, you know, their art or whatever is going to go up. So I'm sure over the next month, eBay is going to go crazy with trying to sell his stuff, his autograph work, and just comic books in general. I can't even imagine. So that's what's going to happen on that side. So if that's something that you were looking forward to, you know, do what you got to do. You know, it sucks that it took such a sad event for that to happen, but unfortunately, that's the world. My kid is not old enough to understand the difference between DC and Marvel. You know, he sees a superhero character and that's it. He doesn't care who he belongs to. You know, he loves them regardless. And I love that. It's one of my kids' favorite things is this Wolverine right here. You know, it makes him happy. And I love Wolverine personally. A lot of people love Wolverine. You know, so he's a big part of our household. Little Wolvie here. So my wife loves Stan Lee. She thought he was an adorable old man. So she bought this pop. This is the only Stan Lee pop that we have. unfortunately. But yeah, I think it's pretty cool. It's from the Guardians of the Galaxy movie. Pretty awesome. I do like that. So it's not going anywhere ever. Um, and I only own one Stan Lee comic that he's actually written. And it's one of the ones that he did for DC, which a lot of people don't know. He did do a series of comics for DC at one point. It was Stan Lee's Just Imagine, where he reimagined a lot of the DC characters. This was the Batman one. It was 13 issues. He did Batman, Wonder Woman, Superman, JLA, all kinds of stuff where he was the writer of it with a few different artists. But yeah, again, that's the only one I own. But it's really cool. This is the Batman one. But it's cool just to see his name and the DC logo on the same thing, you know. DC respected the hell out of them. You know, they had their wars for so many years. But at the end of the day, it's all respect. If you get on Twitter right now, there's so many artists from every comic book company giving his family their condolences, and that's respect right there. You can only respect what this man did and never take it away from him. His legacy is the movies. His legacy is the comics. His legacy is the characters that me, your parents, your kids, and your grandkids will grow up and love and know these characters. That's his legacy. And that is really, that's something special to leave on the behind with the world. So my condolences to Stan Lee and his family, man. You are the shit. And may you rest in peace. And again, from a comic book fan in general, rest in peace, Stan Lee. We love you and we miss you.